What's up, gamers? It's your boy, JKon, and we're here with another episode of Pros and Cons. Today, we're going to be talking about Super Mario Bros. And Blue Lock. Be warned, there are spoilers ahead. Let's start off with Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. Okay, honestly, I thought this movie was pretty good. I was very thoroughly entertained. It definitely weighed upon the nostalgia bait kind of effect. So if you were a big fan of Mario or played any of the games in the past, or you're a casual Mario fan with Smash or Mario Kart or something like that, they have references to all of those things. So you will definitely see something that you'll recognize, which I thought was really, really cool. They've stuffed Easter eggs throughout the movie, so it's really fun to kind of point out and look at them. I loved seeing the different worlds that Mario got to travel to. If you have never played a Mario game, Mario gets to travel between multiple different worlds that has a lot of different stages, and they all kind of have their own little vibe. Whether it's a snow planet or a desert planet, they're all really cool. So I thought it was really nice that Illumination was able to bring that to life, especially at the beginning with the ice world that they first stopped by. The Mario references for locations, I thought that was really nice because of the platforming aspect of it. Mario is a side platforming game, so being able to see the movie in that same perspective as if we were playing a game, I thought was really, really cool. The standout performances, in my opinion, from the movie itself was Jack Black and Seth Rogen for their voice acting. I thought that the cast that they brought together was pretty alright, but for the most part, you kind of felt that the actor or actress who was playing the character was just playing kind of themselves. When you hear Chris Pratt as Mario, you just kind of hear Chris Pratt. When you hear Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, you kind of just hear Anya Taylor-Joy. Seth Rogen's for sure within that ballpark, but I'm a big Seth Rogen fan, so I definitely thought that it was kind of fitting for DK. Just putting that out there. And of course, Jack Black stole the show. I think he was just a step above everybody else. I think his musical performance that he had in the movie itself was really, really good. And overall, I thought he made Bowser come to life and really fulfilled this story arc that Bowser had. Speaking of the story arc that Bowser had, I thought his goals and motivations were really, really well done. And I know that's kind of funny because at the end of the day, his goal is to capture the power-up star so that he can offer it to Princess Peach to marry her. It's a really, really simple motivation, but I thought it was well done in the ramp up and how they showed how Bowser got there and kind of his own internal motivations between going from this big, rough, tough king of the Koopas to this gushing turtle that's trying to get married. I thought the animation was really, really well done. I think this was the best Illumination animation movie that they have made. I have, fortunately or unfortunately, watched a lot of Illumination movies, so I definitely think this one was the best one. The worlds that they created were really, really beautiful. The colors were really well done. I didn't think there was anything that kind of stood out because, for the most part, it really fit into the whole Mario theme, and I thought that they brought the game's atmosphere and world to life really, really well. So, props to Illumination there. I thought it was pretty good. Other little side characters that I thought was entertaining was the depressing Luma. I thought it was really, really funny. It kind of said some effed up stuff for the most part, but I thought it was funny. I thought it was nice to bring a little bit of dark humor. Although the movie is catered for children, I like how they had that little tidbit as an adult. I just thought it made it a little bit better. I feel like as a kid, you probably wouldn't understand it as much, but as an adult, it definitely was appreciated by me. One of the scenes that I think really, really stood out from the movie itself was when they were building the carts after they got the Kong army signed. And I thought that was super, super sick because obviously when you play Mario Kart, especially the newest ones, you get to have 3 little dials that help you build your cart, whether it's like wheels or the cart itself or whatever, the parachute that you want to use. All of them are customizable. So it was kind of nice to see the characters themselves do the exact same thing that we do when we enter a race using them. So again, it was a very nice interactive feeling that I think only aided the movie. One of the aspects of the race that they took from Mario Kart that I thought was really well done was seeing the blue shell in action. I hate the blue shell. As someone who, I'm not saying I'm good at Mario Kart, but as someone who is a Mario Kart enjoyer from time to time, the blue shell is so punishing. If you really think about it, the blue shell is the only thing, the only item in games that negatively affects you for succeeding. Can we talk about that? That's messed up. You know what I'm saying? That's messed up. The last thing that I really wanted to talk about was Luigi. Now, I don't know about you all. I'm a big Luigi guy, okay? I love Luigi. I would probably say Luigi is my favorite character in the Mario universe outside of Monty Mole, because Monty Mole's goated. But in this movie, Luigi proved that he is the himmiest of hims. Like, he is up there. He's himmiest of hims tier. You know what I mean? He's up there. And the reason why I say this is Luigi really didn't get much of an arc in this movie, which is kind of unfortunate because I thought Charlie Day as Luigi was funny. I thought Charlie Day has kind of that, excuse me, Charlie Day, wimpy voice a little bit that fits into the Luigi persona really well. But yeah, Luigi pretty much did not have much of an arc. He kind of was separated from Mario since the beginning of the movie, and he kind of had his own little dealings with Bowser. It was aight. It was his thing. But what proves my point that Luigi is the himmiest of hims is that when Mario got to the Mushroom Kingdom, he had to go through a training arc. You know, he had to go through the side platform and he got flexed on by Peach. Like, he really had to grind and try in order to be good with the items and powers that came from this world. Luigi's that motherfucker that didn't need that shit. This boy at the end touches that big star, goes yoink, flipping around, styling on fools, absolutely dominated Bowser. He is the himmiest of hims. No training needed. Was literally on another world with no training, trapped in a cage. He's the man. He's himmiest of hims. Now we go into the cons. Unfortunately, it's a really basic story structure. It is so simple. I'm not saying that's a bad thing because, again, it is a kids movie. But the motivations for the plot is we go from one plot point to the next plot point, and the only plot point that pushes that duration is trying to get to the next action sequence. I'm not saying that the action sequence were bad. They were actually really amazing. I thought they were great. But the plot is literally Mario shows up. Princess Peach is like, damn, you human, bro. Let me get in those pants. Take you along with me. We got to go get the army. They go and get the army. After they get the army, they have to go back. Then they lose the army. And then it ends up just being Mario, Luigi, and Peach. So I'm not saying that the plot points were boring or dull, but they kind of just didn't do anything. They ended up being quite meaningless, which is unfortunate. And that leads to the final point of, if you really want a good story, like a good, well-written plot and story, this movie ain't it, bro. This movie ain't it. But you don't come to watch the Super Mario Bros. Movie for the plot. You come to see the Mario world brought to life. You get to see the nostalgia bait and the Easter eggs that are put into the movie. You get to see the different universes that Mario has influence in the last 30-something years or 40 years that he's been around. And it's all together in one little package. And I think that's great. So at the end of the day, I would rate it an 8 out of 10 for entertainment. I was very thoroughly entertained. But it was a 5 out of 10 for storylines, which ends up being a 6.5 out of 10. I liked it, and I know that since it's already crested $1 billion, that they most likely will try to make a cinematic universe for it. So if they do that, I'm praying that it won't be bad. Now let's move on to Blue Lock. All right, this anime was hype. I'm not gonna lie, this anime was hype. I was sleeping on it when it first released. I feel like I'm the type of guy that doesn't really enjoy the weekly release schedule of anime. Like, I totally understand why they do it, but also I want to be able to watch like 2 or 3 episodes in a row. You know what I mean? So I waited for Blue Lock to kind of finish and complete before I delved into it. And all my friends were touting about how good it was. My best friend was like, dude, you're going to love it. You'll love the main character's abilities, all that stuff. So I was like, all right, we ball. Let's watch some Blue Lock. So one of the things that stands out to me the most, and which I think makes it unique and really good, is that they have an ego approach to sports anime. Most animes, especially sports animes, always talk about the team. Kuroko no Basket, you gotta play as a team. Haikyuu, you gotta play as a team. Any team sport, traditionally, you gotta grow together as a team in order to accomplish your goals. And most of the time, it's to win nationals, right? But I love the ego approach. I feel like sports helps foster that. I was a sports kid as a child, so I played basketball as a kid. And I think definitely having that own personal growth and ego in your own abilities and seeing yourself develop really pushes yourself to be the best. I didn't play basketball because I just wanted to play basketball. I played basketball because I wanted to be the best basketball player I could be. I'm no Michael Jordan. I'm not that tall. I'm also Asian and I can't jump that high. But that doesn't mean I can't have an ego about being the best basketball player on the court. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, bro? So I think having an ego approach is very nice because it takes a different approach to sports anime. And it goes from a happy-go-lucky kind of work together and grow feeling to, it's my time to shine, coach, put me in. So I'm all for that. I love that. Speaking of things that I love the growth and development of the characters over time, especially Isagi as he grows into his power. Why especially Isagi, the main character? And that's primarily because he kind of sucks. I'm not saying that he's like a superstar or anything, but obviously at the beginning, he's literally the lowest rated player. He's at the bottom, bro. So if you're the lowest rated player out of the entire pool that is there, clearly there's a gap in your skills and abilities. So I think seeing him evolve and grow throughout the episodes, especially in the first early episodes where he kind of gets a little bit of a grasp of what he can do, because this mofo just thought he was an average Joe and that he should have been selfish and taken the shot. And you know what I gotta tell him? Shoot or shoot, bro. If you that guy, you take that shot. If you ain't that guy, you pass. That's okay. But if you're that guy, you take that shot. Shoot or shoot. So I think seeing him go from that kind of hesitant side, especially in the first episode, to really coming into his own and devouring other people and really growing into his own ego and believing in himself and seeing how self-confident and seeing your own abilities prove yourself right can really, really help evolve a person to the next level. And I love that. The thing about Isagi is the representation that they use, the visual representation of him figuring things out, solving the puzzle. I love the puzzle metaphor. I have used the puzzle metaphor in the past as a way to describe life. Life gives you pieces, little bits and pieces throughout. Honestly, most of the time you really don't understand or know where those pieces will fit. But eventually, give it some time, you'll collect enough pieces that you can start putting together the bigger picture. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's a perfect representation of Isagi figuring out himself, figuring out his place in Blue Lock to see if he can really compete with these generational talents, these natural born geniuses, right? I'm no genius, but I can understand working hard to compete against the best. And you may not succeed or get as far as they will, but you can get there. And damn, it feels pretty good sometimes. Another comparison of the puzzle and equation representation that they use for Isagi's thinking is kind of similar to how I think about a lot of situations. And I know that's cheesy. You're gonna be like, oh, Justin, you're just saying that because you really like this anime. But no, genuinely, to piece together bits and pieces of information to get an overall image, that's how I think. When I play games, I think about all those different situations. When I go driving, I think about all those different situations. I try to visualize the space and world around me and how I can kind of fit into that. Just saying. Very, very kin. So I felt pretty represented within Isagi, personally speaking. Speaking a little bit about how I really enjoy Isagi as a character is I love how I relate to him in the sense of being a jack of all trades, master of none. I feel like it's hard to be a specialist. I've always questioned this, and this always plagues me in every game that I play. How can somebody be a one-trick pony? How can you only play one character for thousands of hours? How can you play Teemo for thousands of hours and only Teemo? How can you play Sniper in TF2 and only play Sniper on that account? Never delve into other classes. How can you do X, Y, and Z? I understand having a main, but only playing one. How can you put in 2,000 hours of Sova and only play Sova, right? It blows my mind how some people can do that. So I can't do that. I have to play anybody and everybody. I have to have a baseline experience to be able to play everybody. That's how I am. Because if I'm able to play everybody at a baseline, then I'm better, in my opinion, than specialists. Because I'm more flexible. But that's just how I think and how I view a lot of things. So I understand Isagi's plight to become the best because it's hard to figure out what you can be the best in. And I think that's what Blue Lock is really representative of, especially with the personalities and their powers, is how they utilize them to be the best. As a master of none, I definitely like specialists who can flex. As I was going on my rant about one-trick ponies and whatnot, I always respect players that have mains but can flex. So seeing everyone have the same role of striker and having to fit into the other roles to make their teams work was nice to see. Because I think a lot of people can kind of take some advice from that. Being a specialist in one thing, only one thing, can only get you so far. And if you're put into a situation where you have to be more flexible and you have to adapt and change, those that can, even if they're not the most elite in their specialized skill, can make it pretty damn far. But not do I only love Isagi. I love the side characters. Oh my gosh, I think they really flesh out the side characters and really help develop them. And I think that's what really sells this anime for me personally, because most of the time, I'll be honest, I really don't get hooked into the main character. Usually I don't really care about the main character. It's usually the side characters that make shows for me. So having really awesome side characters like Nagi and Bachira, who are able to develop and evolve in their own ways in the same vein as Isagi is, it was just... it's nice, bro. It's really nice. It's nice to have other people and characters to attach onto, because yeah, who wants to just stick with the main cast, right? Why not go for something else? Speaking of those side characters, their powers and how they utilize them, it's really nice because I think a lot of their quote-unquote powers fit into their personalities, right? Chigiri, for example, the super fast guy has an injury. How does he overcome that? I think that's such a difficult thing to represent. And I think a lot of non-athletes may not necessarily understand. And I think that's what really made Chigiri stand out to me as a character, was because of that injury trauma. His personality is all about being in the front, running really fast, being the leader, getting yourself out there. And when your ability is taken away from you, I don't think many people understand how damaging that can be to a person. I've suffered pretty bad injuries to myself when I competed in sports, and recovery and rehab is not fun. It's scary. When you hurt yourself and you don't believe in your own body to be able to do what you did before, it just locks you into a place of uncertainty and you're very limited, and it's a horrible feeling. So I love seeing Chigiri break out of that and really hop back into the sport that he loved, because I think that's inspiring. Really is. I think a lot of people don't have that ability to jump back on the horse. And I think having a character represent that is great, especially in an anime that is so focused on growing and developing your person instead of just developing but breaking through something that's been chaining you down. Like, shit, man. Some of the visuals from this anime that I loved was the flames in their eyes. I love how their eyes change, especially when they lock in. Nagi's eyes when he starts to evolve. Bachira's when he sees the monster. Isagi's with the green flames coming out. Ooh, I love flames, bro. I think it's just... chef's kiss, baby. Chef's kiss. I am not the biggest soccer person in the world. I'll be honest. I genuinely think soccer is kind of boring. I played it as a kid and my foot coordination is just not as good as my like hand-eye coordination. So didn't really stick with it too long, but I was just never a really big soccer guy. Funnily enough, what kind of got me into wanting to watch this anime was I actually watched the World Cup final with my cousin, and seeing Messi win was pretty dope. Messi GOAT. Now let's get into some cons. I really wish that the side characters got more screen time. I like the side characters. Like I was saying earlier, I think the side characters really make the anime what it is. So I wish that we got a little bit more time with the other characters, especially the competitors. There are so many unique competitors that are within the game. And although you get to learn a lot about specific ones like Rin or Baro or even Nagi at the time when he was an enemy, that's all cool, but I wish there was a little bit more, you know what I mean? And maybe that will come in the future seasons, but I don't know, man. I guess we'll find out. And the other thing that I kind of have a con for this is that I wish Isagi bought into the ego side a little bit more. I think he kind of got a little bit of an inkling of it early on into the show, but I think as soon as he started to buy into it more, such as devouring Baro and really leveling up his game at that point, I think that's when the show really accelerated to being, holy shit, this is gonna be good, right? So I wish that he bought into it a little bit earlier, especially because he knew that this is going to be a competition of ego. It's always going to come down. It's Hunger Games. It's the last man standing, right? It's always going to be who has the biggest ego at the end of it. Buy into the system earlier, you might actually succeed earlier. So I don't know. That's just me. But again, it's a story arc. So at the end of the day, great anime. I would say it's a 9 out of 10. Average Joe x Average Joe makes it a really good show. Anyways, that will conclude my episode today. I hope all of you really enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to give me a like, leave a comment if you have anything to say, subscribe for more, and of course, stay hydrated. Peace, homies.